Alright, I'm using quotes because this isn't direct proof, just my research and what I've been seeing. Grab some popcorn because this is a research paper type post and it's long to start off. I'm not spiritual at all when it comes to shifting. I don't think it's weird or stupid, but it's just not what I believe. So this post will be more science-based if that's alright. No LOA or mindset changing stuff. Everyone loves to say that the CIA proves shifting, which isn't completely untrue. But not exactly true either. For those who've never heard of it, here's a quick summary. The Gateway Experience was a classified U.S. Army study in the 1980s that explored how audio brainwave syncing could help people alter their consciousness to do things like astral project, time travel, and remote view. The military got involved during the Cold War, hoping to use it for psychic spying. A CIA report called Analysis and Assessment of the Gateway Process stated that time isn't linear, reality might be a hologram, and consciousness exists outside the body. Personally, I don't trust them completely because the last page went missing, so we'll never know the actual conclusions. Now these tapes still exist and can be purchased or found on Spotify anyway. In the CIA's report, these are some direct quotes from their findings. In simpler words, they're saying consciousness isn't confined to one space or time. This also means that reality shifting, if mastered, could be used to project consciousness forward in time, not just to different realities that take place in the realistic future. More quotes. They also go deep into the holographic universe concept, but that leans more into simulation theory, which is a bit more controversial. Quantum physics low-key goes crazy when it comes to backing up reality shifting. The main ones I'll talk about here are superposition, the double-slit experiment, and the observer effect. Superposition, Schrodinger's cat, is a famous thought experiment where a cat in a box is both alive and dead at the same time, until someone opens the box and observes it. This shows that particles can exist in multiple states at once until measured in shifting terms. All realities exist simultaneously. Just like the cat is both alive and dead, when your consciousness collapses into one version, it's like opening the box. You're choosing the outcome by observing it into existence. Double-slit experiment. When particles like electrons pass through two slits without observation, they behave like waves, interfering with each other, but when observed they act like solid particles and pick a single path. This means consciousness literally affects how reality behaves. When you shift, you're choosing which version of reality you want to observe into existence, like screaming at the multiverse that one's mine. You're the observer, you're the collapse, you're the God-tier timeline selector. The observer effect. Reality doesn't exist in a defined state until it's observed, so by changing your focus you can literally choose your reality. This is the physics backbone of shifting. You're locking into a different version of reality with your focus and intention. Neuroscience. Now, when you add neuroscience into the mix with quantum physics, this whole thing starts to make a little more sense. The key here is neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to change based on experience, thought, or repetition. Your brain literally can't distinguish between a vivid imagination and a real experience. When you visualize your DR, you're activating the same brain areas as if you're really there, reinforcing neural pathways that say this is reality, not my CR. This DR right here. So every time you script, daydream, or imagine you're walking the DR trail again, your brain builds more and more connections that strengthens the emotions tied to it and begins to treat it like your default setting. Think of it like a mental GPS rerouting you to your DR. It all started when I was stuck. My life felt dull, repetitive, and heavy. School was stressful. My relationships were falling apart, and worst of all, I didn't even know who I was anymore. One late night I stumbled upon a post. I shifted to Hogwarts. It was real. I felt it. I lived there for days. I rolled my eyes. At first, a bunch of kids pretending to live in fictional worlds. Come on. But then I started reading more experiences. People claiming they had full conversations, relationships, even whole lives in other realities. The skeptic in me said no way, but the broken part of me whispered, what if I dived deep? I wanted real proof, not just stories. I even kept a journal to track my attempts. Here's where it got weird. On my third attempt using the I am method, I felt my entire body buzz, like I was vibrating. My room went silent, not quiet silent. My ears started ringing. My body couldn't move. I panicked and opened my eyes. Everything went back to normal. But I felt it. That wasn't a dream. That wasn't just imagination. I kept trying for weeks. I failed over and over, but I learned something important. Shifting doesn't happen through force. It happens through surrender. Then one night I stopped trying so hard. I repeated gently, I am already in my desired reality. I am safe. It is done. I visualized my desired bedroom. Soft lighting, a window overlooking a forest, photos on the wall of people I didn't know in this life but knew there. Then blackness. Next thing I knew, I was sitting in that room on that bed. The air smelled different. My body felt different. I looked in a mirror, and it was still me, but slightly older, more confident. I got up, opened the door, and someone said, finally awake. Who? We've been waiting. I stayed there for 2 days. I lived, I ate, I walked. I hugged someone I didn't know in this life, but loved with all my heart in that one. And when I came back, I cried, not because I was confused, but because I knew it was real, still skeptical. Let me give you my personal proofs. I brought back a drawing that I sketched while shifted. It didn't exist in this reality, but when I returned, I recreated it exactly down to a symbol I didn't know consciously. I remembered a conversation word for word. Days later, I dreamed of the same characters continuing it. I found a song that I heard only in that reality. And 2 weeks later, someone posted a version of it in a shifting Discord server. We had never spoken. How coincidence maybe, but I don't believe in coincidences anymore. Here's what I learned after shifting. Clarity is power. Write a clear script of your desired reality. Name, age, appearance, relationships, rules. Pick a method that fits you. Popular methods. A method, repeating affirmations until you drift. Pillow method, script under your pillow. Alice in Wonderland, visualize falling down a rabbit hole. Lucid dream jump, use lucid dreams to enter your DR. Try them. Mix them. Make your own. Mental state matters more than method. If you're anxious or desperate, your mind won't let go. Relax, feel as if you've already shifted. Let go of the house. Shifting isn't about control. It's about allowing, like falling asleep while aware. Reality shifting defies logic. You don't need scientific approval, you need trust. Here's the truth: most people don't fail to shift because it's not real. They fail because they treat it like a test. They stress, obsess, compare, doubt. You don't need to earn it. You just need to become it. Since that first shift, I've returned multiple times, sometimes for minutes, sometimes for hours, once for a week. Every time it's more vivid, every time I remember more, and every time I return more whole, because each shift reminds me I am not stuck in this life. I am infinite. I am the dreamer, the creator, and the shifter of worlds. You're not crazy for believing in shifting. You're just waking up to what's always been possible. So tonight, lie down. I am already there, and don't try to shift. Just allow it, because the reality you dream of, it's already dreaming you. When I woke up in this reality again, everything felt dull. The walls of my room were the same color, but somehow less vibrant. The people around me didn't remember the version of me from the other world. It was like walking through a dream I no longer belonged to. I went through the day feeling like I'd lost something precious. I couldn't talk to anyone about it. Not really. Who would believe me that I had shifted realities, lived another version of my life, and remembered everything? But then I noticed something strange after returning from a shift. Your current reality doesn't always remain the same. Here's what I experienced. A birthmark I've had on my arm since I was little was gone, just vanished. I checked old photos, it was there, but now smooth skin. A street name near my house changed spelling. It was Grayfield my whole life. Now the sign reads Grayfield. Everyone insists it was always that way. Songs I used to know by heart had different lyrics, and one time, I swear, I saw a person walking down my street who looked exactly like someone from my desired reality. They made eye contact as if they knew. Was I losing my mind, or was the shift bleeding through? I started keeping a shifting journal, and I recommend you do the same. Every morning I'd write date and time I tried shifting method, used how I felt mentally, what I visualized, if I felt symptoms, what I experienced, any strange things that happened the next day. After 30 entries I saw a pattern. Shifting only happened on nights when I let go of expectation and truly believed it was already real. Not when I begged, not when I tried too hard, only when I surrendered. It's hard to describe unless you felt it, but I'll try. The moment it starts, you'll feel a warm buzz all over your body. Your limbs become heavy or totally light, a sense of floating, falling, or being pulled. Sometimes a doorway or a tunnel of light appears in your mind. You may hear voices calling your name. Your heartbeat changes, it slows down. Then stillness, a moment of nothingness, and suddenly you're there. It's not a dream, it's not imagination. You can walk, talk, feel, smell, touch. You'll know you're no longer in this reality. Here are more methods I've personally tested and actually worked. The Raven method: lay starfish style on your back, count to 100 slowly in your mind. After each number, repeat, I am shifting to my desired reality. Visualize each number pulling you deeper. It worked for me on night. The elevator method: visualize being in an elevator. Each floor takes you deeper into your DR. You can press a button with the exact number and watch the doors open to your DR. One time, when I reached floor 17, the elevator opened and it wasn't my DR, it was something else, dark and silent. I pressed the button again. Your mind will test you. Stay focused. The mirror method: visualize a mirror. On the other side is your DR self, smiling at you. Reach through the mirror and pull yourself in. It's powerful, especially when combined with subliminals. After my third full shift, something inside me changed permanently. I stopped fearing death, because I realized reality is not fixed, it's flexible. There are infinite versions of me. I lost my social anxiety because I remembered versions of myself that were confident, grounded, and free. I started manifesting quicker in this reality. I could think of something, and it showed up within days. I became more empathetic because I'd lived other lives. I knew how it felt to be different versions of me. Reality shifting didn't just give me another life, it gave me peace. Here's the part people struggle with the most: is it real? Let me ask you this: if you feel pain in a dream, does it matter that it wasn't real? If you fall in love with someone you met while shifted, and you carry that love with you every day, does that not count? Reality isn't about what others believe, it's about what you experience, and I have experienced truth in those worlds. Truth That healed me. To those still trying to shift, let me give you my most honest advice. Stop comparing your journey. Everyone shifts differently, some on the first try, some after 100. Focus more on the feeling than the visuals. Feel yourself in the new reality. Trust yourself. That's the only ingredient that matters. Shift to places that heal you, not just fantasy world. Shift to better versions of your real life, one where you're loved, safe and free. And when you return, write it down, remember it, let it shape who you become here, because that version of you, the one who lives in joy, purpose, love, it already exists. You're not creating it, you're returning to it. So if you're lying in bed tonight wondering if you'll ever shift, stop wondering, start knowing you already have. Maybe you forgot, maybe you haven't remembered yet, but somewhere out there, another version of you is watching this video smiling because they remember you and they're waiting. The first time I shifted, I thought it was luck. The second time felt like proof, but the third time that was home. I woke up in a soft bed, surrounded by shelves of books I'd never owned. In this reality, a window let in golden light outside. Trees swayed gently in the breeze. The air was crisper, the colors warmer. Everything felt like a dream. But it wasn't. A knock at the door. I opened it. He stood there, the person I had written about in my script. But it wasn't just a character, it was someone my soul remembered. This is the part that makes many shifters cry. When you form relationships in your desired reality, they are real. The emotions, the laughs, the touch, the shared memories, they exist somewhere. Just because it's not here doesn't mean it didn't happen. I spent what felt like 3 weeks in that reality. We cooked together, we talked for hours about everything, we held each other when the world outside felt too loud. I've never felt that safe. Not in this reality. When I shifted back, I woke up mid-sentence. One moment, I was saying, promise me you'll be here when I get back. Next moment, my ceiling back in this body. Back in this room, gone. I cried for hours because I left someone behind. Here's where it gets real for people who doubt. After returning, my heart ached like I had lost a real person. I could still smell his shirt for 2 days. A tiny scar on my finger appeared, exactly where I had cut it while cooking. In that world, I knew things I had no way of knowing. I wrote down details, like a nearby cafe, a street name, a phone number. And weeks later, someone posted a matching description in a shifting community. How do you explain that? You don't, you feel it. And you remember, people always ask, if it's so perfect, why can't we stay? There are many theories, but here's what I've come to believe. Your subconscious pulls you back when your body here needs you. You haven't detached fully from your identity here. If a part of you still fears losing this reality, you'll snap back. Sometimes it's simply not your time to stay there yet. Think of shifting like opening a door. Each time you do it, the door opens wider. One day it might stay open for good, but until then, you visit, you remember, you grow, and every time you come back, you bring a piece of that reality with you. One night, I had a dream. I was in a classroom. I didn't recognize everyone was old. I looked around. He was there too. I said, this feels familiar. He smiled. You've been here before, you just don't remember. Every time I woke up, something told me to check my journal, and there it was. The same classroom from an old shift I had forgotten. Same windows, same chalkboard. Same words written in Latin on the wall, memini ergo sum. I remember, therefore I am shifting doesn't only allow access to fictional places. You can shift to alternate versions of this life, your ideal future self, a past life. Yes, I've shifted into a past life. I was a healer in a small village and I died young, protecting a child from sickness. I remembered herbs, smells, names after the shift. I googled the name of the village. It's a real place. A place I'd never heard of, and the plant I used in the shift, it's known for medicinal properties exactly as I used it. Coincidence? You decide. No, your consciousness is tethered to this body like a balloon on a string. But here's what can happen. You can choose to stay longer than intended. Time in your DR might pass faster or slower than here. You may return with emotions, memories, or even trauma from that world. Shifting is powerful. Treat it with care. You're not just playing with imagination, you're traveling across realms of consciousness. I used to think shifting was about escaping, but the more I shift, the more I realize it's not about leaving this world behind. It's about remembering who you truly are, the confident version of you, the loved version of you, the healed version of you. They already exist. Shifting isn't creating them, it's reuniting with them. Let me tell you a secret. You already know how to shift. You did it as a child when you imagined your toys were real, when you created worlds with your mind, when you believed without limits. That power didn't disappear, you just forgot. But now you're remembering again. Shifting is not a trick, it's not just dreams, it's not wishful thinking. It is your soul walking through doors that science hasn't caught up with yet. Don't wait for proof, become the proof. When someone asks if shifting is real, smile and say, I've seen things I can't explain. I've loved people I've never met here, and I've lived more lives than I can count, because you have. You are not limited, you are infinite, and your next shift, it could be tonight.